Have you ever noticed that some people feel most alive in the quiet corners of their own homes? They don't crave the noise of crowded rooms or the attention of strangers. Instead, they find comfort in familiar walls and the sound of stillness. To others, it might look like they're avoiding life, but the truth is, they're participating in life, just in a different way. They aren't running from the world. They're moving toward peace. There's a psychology behind this. Many people who love staying at home have a highly active inner world. Their imagination, their thoughts, their emotions, they're all vivid. Inside their mind, there's movement, depth, meaning. So home stops being a place and becomes more like a sanctuary, a space where everything inside them can finally breathe. Psychologists call this high internal presence. It means your inner world feels more real, more alive, more fulfilling than whatever noise is happening outside.
They can stare out of a window, sip a warm drink, listen to the hum of their own thoughts, and feel a kind of fulfillment that most people chase in distant places. Their heart doesn't beat faster in crowds. It beats steadier in silence. But the interesting part is that it wasn't always this way. Many of them once tried to fit into the rushing world. They tried matching the energy of friends who loved parties, chaos, stimulation, constant movement. They tried to enjoy what others enjoyed. And at some point, they realized their calm wasn't a flaw. Their desire for quiet wasn't a weakness. It was just who they were. I remember the first time I understood this. I used to think staying home would make me feel lonely, like I was missing something important. But instead of feeling left out, I felt understood by the space around me. I realized I didn't need noise to feel alive. I didn't need everyone's eyes to feel seen. I began to value the sound of turning pages more than the sound of applause. That's when I understood something simple but life-changing. Peace is also a way of living. Staying home doesn't mean being alone. Sometimes it means finally being with yourself and actually listening. And that's something the world often forgets to do. Many people who prefer staying home share a trait that goes unnoticed: introspection. They think deeply, feel deeply. Every moment becomes a story. Every memory becomes a lesson. They let emotions pass through them instead of rushing past them. Scientific studies even show that people who enjoy solitude score high in creativity, empathy, and emotional intelligence. Their calm helps them understand others, even if they themselves aren't always understood. But the world doesn't always see that. Instead, they get told things like, "You're missing out. You should socialize more. Don't you get bored?" These words hurt because they imply that something is wrong with them. Yet some of the greatest thinkers, artists, and innovators in history preferred spending most of their time at home. They weren't hiding from life. They were shaping it from the inside. Silence has its own kind of communication. It teaches patience. It teaches observation. It teaches a strength that doesn't need attention to exist. And at the same time, there's a question people never ask. If home feels so safe, what are they protecting themselves from? Sometimes the answer is overstimulation. People who love staying home often react strongly to noise, chaos, and unpredictability. Their nervous system craves stability. Home gives them control over their environment, and that control brings peace. Other times, it's about trust. They give their heart slowly, carefully, not because they're cold, but because they feel everything intensely. They know the value of emotional safety. And sometimes, it's just a preference. Not fear, not avoidance. Just a genuine love for a space that feels warm, familiar, and honest. They have hobbies that don't require a crowd: reading, gaming, painting, writing, watching films, building something personal. Joy becomes a quiet ritual instead of a loud celebration. Happiness becomes something measured in moments, not events. And here's a secret they rarely say out loud. People who love staying home often love more deeply than anyone realizes. They care quietly. They notice everything. When distractions disappear, the heart learns how to focus. If you're someone who loves staying home, you might have felt misunderstood. You might have wondered if there was something about you that needed fixing. You might have asked yourself why loud gatherings don't excite you the way they excite others. But what if nothing is wrong? What if the world simply needs more people like you? People who listen before speaking, who think before acting, who feel before pretending. Let me shift for a moment. Not talking about them, but talking as one of them. I once believed that if I stayed home too long, the world would forget me. But then, something changed. The world inside my mind started blooming. Thoughts grew like gardens. Ideas kept me up more than any party ever could. I found meaning in simplicity, in softness, in stillness. And slowly, I realized, home is not walls. Home is a state of mind. Maybe you know exactly what I mean. You might enjoy your own company more than the company of crowds. You might love the way silence wraps around you like warmth. You might feel more yourself when no one is watching. The world may not celebrate that part of you yet. But hear this clearly. Your quiet is powerful. Your depth is real. Your solitude is not a flaw. It is a gift.
People who love staying home aren't avoiding life. They're living it with intention. They don't waste words on small talk or time on shallow experiences. They want something real, meaningful, honest. Psychologists say people who prefer solitude are often highly self-aware. They recognize their own emotions clearly. They know who they are. They know what drains them and what nourishes them. Most people spend their whole lives without understanding themselves. But homebodies, they learn early. This doesn't mean they never feel lonely. Loneliness and solitude are different. Loneliness is the absence of connection. Solitude is a chosen connection with yourself. A person can feel lonely in a crowded room, but someone sitting peacefully at home might feel completely whole. Solitude gives strength. It gives clarity. It gives the truth. There are times when staying home feels like protection, a break from a world that constantly demands more. And there are days when it feels like freedom, the freedom to just be. They know exactly what triggers anxiety, discomfort, overstimulation. Home lets them manage their space, their time, their energy. And yet, sometimes the reason they love home is because the world once disappointed them. A friendship broken, a trust betrayed, a feeling that was too heavy for someone else to hold. So they built a space where they never have to apologize for who they are. But loving home doesn't mean their dreams are small. Their aspirations aren't loud, but they are deep. They don't want 100 people cheering. They want one person who truly understands. They don't need constant movement. They need meaningful direction. Home is the place where judgment fades, where you don't have to perform, where exhaustion melts into comfort. Sometimes you stand by the window and watch life outside, cars rushing, people moving quickly, everything loud, and you quietly smile because you know the real treasure is inside. The world glorifies hustle, noise, constant motion, as if rest is laziness and stillness is failure. But the truth is, rest is part of growth. Stillness is part of clarity. Silence is part of understanding. You may spend more time at home than others, but that doesn't mean your life is on pause. You are observing, healing, becoming. Because you feel deeply, you love deeply. Your relationships, though fewer, are real. If someone is in your life, they matter. You give loyalty, gentleness, attention, things most people are too distracted to offer. You notice the sigh someone hides, the message someone doesn't send, the strength behind someone's silence. You understand emotions not just through words, but through pauses. That's a rare kind of strength. And there's another rare thing. People who love staying home often have something called self-companionship. They don't fear their own thoughts. They don't run from their feelings. They can sit with themselves and still feel whole. That is not loneliness. That is self-connection. So let me say this directly. You are not strange for loving the comfort of home. You are not unambitious. You are not fragile. You are not missing out on life. You are building a life that doesn't drain you. A life that fits your heart. A life that makes sense to your nervous system. A life that gives you space to breathe. And one day, when the moment feels right, when the world outside softens a little, when your heart feels ready, you will step out. Not because you were pressured, but because you choose to. And that choice will make everything feel more beautiful. Until then, drink your warm coffee slowly. Let your thoughts unfold. Take care of your peace. Love quietly but deeply. Because the people who love staying home are the ones who make the world feel like home.